back at the 30-yard line. Now you can step into it. Here comes the Hail Mary with the game on the line. And the ball is caught! Caught! It's a miracle!
Welcome back to Overreaction Monday, Week 8. And man, do we have a crazy one this past week. It was a bunch of games down to the wire, some crazy endings that we're about to go over here in a second. But Vincent, I know you're not feeling, we're not talking about the Seahawks really today, but your Seahawks have lost. I lost Jordan Love today. Hopefully it's not for too long. How are you feeling on this Overreaction Monday?
I mean, not the best, getting an L there was not good. I think I went 1-4 in my fantasies. It's not locked in this week yet, but yeah, it was just a bad week of football for me in its entirety. But there's always next week. That's what we keep doing. The season goes on. But a lot of good games. So I was excited about that.
A lot of great games. And we're going to talk about the very first one here, and that is Commanders win. Commanders win, which we were all screaming at the end of that game. I know I, especially as a Packer fan who wanted to see the Bears lose that game, and as soon as the Bears scored that last touchdown, I was like, shoot, dang it, man. I can't believe the Bears going to have the same amount of wins or basically locked in right next to us, the Packers, again after another week. I couldn't believe it. I was like, no, not again. And Jaden Daniels, and I'm blanking on his name, but the offensive coordinator came up with a perfect 2 plays for the Commanders in those last 2 plays where they do a quick out to Scary Terry and then absolutely just bomb it down the field, perfectly set up so that if a tip ball gets hit behind them, the receiver's right there to catch it, and worked out perfectly. Walk off, Hail Mary. Don't even need to kick the extra point because the game's over. Incredible. I was not expecting that. I yelled. My dog ran. He thought I was getting mad at him. Vincent, what was your reaction to this ending of the game?
I was not expecting it. I mean, we heard Tony Romo basically going down through what they should do to get the best throw to get there. And, they did the check down and everything, got an extra 10 yards. So they gave Jaden Daniels the perfect amount of yardage just to get it there into the end zone. But yeah, it was crazy. I didn't yell or anything, but I was just my mouth dropped. I was like, they just did it.
Yeah,
it was just really cool. You always love seeing Hail Marys, especially when they're not against your team.
yes.
No puns intended there. But yeah, it was cool. I liked it. Jaden Daniels, I said he was him since week 2. He's him, bro. He's the next guy.
I think the biggest thing I was surprised about on that throw was how big of an arm Jaden Daniels has. I disagreed with where he threw it because I thought he needed to be closer to the line of scrimmage. I thought he could have ran up a couple more yards and gained that because I didn't think he was going to get to the end zone. But he 10 yards back from the line of scrimmage, heaved that thing up. I thought it was going to be short. It was right at the line.
2 or 3.
It was somewhere around there. I think it was in the end zone. I might be mistaken. But it perfectly bounced in. We're watching a little bit something here, Vincent, really quickly of how this kind of went down as I bring up my screen. But if you look at this, you see a Bears player right down here in the middle.
Tyreek Stevenson.
And watch what he does here. He's showboating. Look at this fool.
While the play's going on. They already snapped the ball.
Watch the very end of this. So he leaves it up. And that same player is the one who tips it and causes the Commanders touchdown. He was the one. He was the one that did it. Look at it.
Right there.
Number 29.
29.
He deflected it. He thinks he's a hero.
Gosh.
Guess what? You're wrong.
You stink, bro. You stink.
Commanders win.
Jeez.
Couldn't believe it. I hope he gets a talking to by his coaches.
He will.
Thorough what's the
reprimand?
A reprimand, or make him run laps until he can't anymore, something like that for doing something stupid. Did it maybe? Most likely, same thing would have happened whether he did it or not. But you can't be showboating, acting like you won like that when the game's still going. Jaden Daniels hasn't called the game. No, the refs haven't called the game yet. You got to play to the last second and not be showboating, talking crap to the fans while play is going on. Really embarrassing for the Bears. I know Bears fans are really depressed currently. But hey, don't be. It looks like Caleb Williams and this Bears team might be able to do something yet, especially in years to come. But yeah, overall, Jaden Daniels continues to impress me. Vincent, you were completely right about this guy. I've been shocked so far.
Yeah, dude. Just to, like, I have him in Dynasty, but just to see him like being a starter in like regular redraft leagues is pretty awesome. So yeah, I'm not gonna say like I predicted everything about Jane Daniels, but like as soon as he started playing, you could see that he's gonna be a quarterback in this league for a long time. So it's awesome. The other thing that was funny though, Caleb Williams was on the sideline. They were recording him while this was happening, and he says that's short when Jaden Daniels threw it up.
Oh, really?
He made the prediction. He's like, that's short. He's like, it's
I
not
thought it
going to
was
get to the end
short.
zone. Me too. I mean, they were saying that because of his rib injury, it's probably going to take away from his power. So maybe he can even throw it farther.
Yeah.
But we don't know. This is still a crazy play, and just love to see it for these young guys. It's cool.
Yeah. I love Hail Marys.
Yeah, it's a new rivalry, I guess you could say. Every time Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams will play up.
Maybe. We'll see what the years bring us. But let's move on to another, I guess you call it a QB situation. We're going to talk about the Miami Dolphins and how they lost to the Cardinals, and Tua was not enough for them to get the win. Vincent, you want to break down this game a little bit of how it went, how it went and flowed, and why the Dolphins weren't able to win this game?
Yeah, so I mean, it wasn't like an insane game to where it was one-sided for one half and then one-sided the other half. It was pretty consistent. They were going back and forth. I loved it. I love to see Tua out there. He looked healthy. He even slid after he got a first down. He didn't lower his shoulder like he did last time. So that's good news. No guardian cap, of course. He's not going to wear that. But he looked pretty decent. He was making these little flips like Patrick Mahomes, all this stuff. He was dumping it off. It was nice. I like to see it. My fantasy definitely loves it because Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are doing a little bit better than they usually did. And Achane as well. If you had Achane in fantasy, you're loving this. He's back, basically. I don't know what the effect is that Tua has, but it was awesome. But those pesky Cardinals, man, they have 3 wins this year of less than 2 points right at the end of the game. So they did it against the Niners. They did it here against the Miami Dolphins. Cannot remember who else they did it against, but I know they did it another time this season. So they're 4-4. They are actually in first place in the NFC West right now. Pretty crazy. Didn't expect them to be there.
Yeah, we can definitely see that Tua is I guess you could call it the keyhole, that the key that unlocks that entire offense, whether it's Achane, whether it's Tyreek, whether it's Waddle, etc. Without him, this team does not move. He is important, extremely important. Whatever you want to say about Tua, that he's not an elite quarterback or whatever you want to say about him, at the end of the day, he works well in this offense with McDaniels calling plays, and they are very important to each other. So it's great to see him out there, but it was still not enough to beat the Miami Dolphins. Even with the putting up 27 points on offense, wasn't able to come out with the dub. Definitely, this defense needs to do better covering the tight end, covering a star wide receiver like Marvin Harrison. They were able to ball up Kyler Murray pretty well as far as his rushing ability, but maybe that was just because the passing lanes were wide open. So definitely a lot needs to happen on this Dolphins defense. We knew it was going to be, at least I knew it was going to be a troublesome defense coming into this year with the amount of veterans they lost in the offseason and the injuries they've already dealt with. in this season currently on their defense. So we knew it was going to be suspect, but definitely needs to be playing better for their offense to be able to win games. But yeah, anything else you want to say about the Dolphins?
Oh man, I mean, hopefully they just keep doing this. They keep playing up to this caliber, even a little bit better, like they probably should have been. I know a lot of people had them as a divisional possible winner this year. It doesn't look like that's going to happen this year, but I don't know, man. I hope the Dolphins play well. Hope Tua has a long career. That's pretty much it. I just hope we keep seeing good football out of that team as long as we can.
For sure, for sure. All right, let's head on into our next topic of games, and we got the Baltimore Ravens versus the Cleveland Browns. And you're like, oh, that's an easy game, right? Oh, wait, what happened last week? Deshaun Watson got hurt. Very sorry for him. Hope he recovers very well. But that means another quarterback's in for the Cleveland Browns. Oh, this just gets interesting. Which quarterback starting for the Cleveland Browns? Winston? Oh, this got even more interesting. Jameis Winston went out, and after being very limited in the first half, only allowing scoring 6 points in the first half, they come up with this incredible second half resurgence and are able to score 29 points in total. Jameis Winston throws for 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, for 334 yards. Not a very big rushing game on the ground. And then he spread the ball between Tillman, Moore, Judy, and Njoku very, very well. And the Cleveland Browns were able to topple the Ravens, which I definitely not see coming. I'm looking at what the Ravens did on their side of the ball, and only letting Derrick Henry run the ball 11 times. Come on, guys. Give him 16 plus carries per game. I know you maybe want to be saving him for the end of the season because he is a little bit older, but he is your offensive powerhouse. Lamar's great. Lamar can do a lot, but he is the reason why you guys are one of the top teams currently, is because you have the king, Derrick Henry, to this day. Vincent, what are your thoughts of watching this game?
Yeah, I know that Jameis Winston coming in and playing the way he did definitely earned them the amount of points that they put on the board here. I think this was a bad game by the Baltimore Ravens. Yes, Jameis Winston had an effect on the offensive side of the ball. The defense couldn't really stop him when they needed to. And yeah, like you said, he passed the ball around spectacularly. It was awesome. Even that no named receiver that nobody really knew was going to do anything this week, Tillman. I can't remember his first name, but Cedric Tillman. I know he was a topic of fantasy. Do you start him? Do you put him on your roster? Do you spend amount of fab on him? So he had a touchdown, and it was the last touchdown to basically kill this game, to put them up 29-24. It was just an awesome game. But yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly, Reed. This was Derrick Henry's least amount of carries the entire season, his second least amount of yards the entire season. Against the Cleveland Browns, who really weren't doing all that well against him, he had a 6.6 yard average per carry. You would have expected the Baltimore Ravens to really have run out the clock. You know, they were up, should just keep the ball after that long field goal that they had with Jason Tucker, and just keep the ball when you had it with you, you know. But they didn't. I think this was bad coaching by the Baltimore Ravens here. They were kind of surprised and shell-shocked that the Browns were in this game. They did not expect that whatsoever. So it could have just been a lack of good coaching here, good planning. I don't know, but the Browns came out and played. No disrespect to them, but we'll see if Jameis Winston can keep this going. If he does, it's going to be great just to see what the Browns do next year when Deshaun is back. So
that's gonna. We've talked about it in our past overreactions about what they do with Deshaun Watson. Do they trade him? Do they cut him? Do they just take the cap hit? We'll watch one of our other. I forget which one it was. I think it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think it was week 6.
Yeah, week 6, where we talked about the Deshaun Watson contract. So go check that out if you're interested more about it. But yeah, I just don't know what the Browns do. You had Joe Flacco, who came in last year for Deshaun Watson, played great, got you to the playoffs, And I even put you like almost Super Bowl because of how much I believed in this Cleveland Browns
I
team last
remember
year.
that.
Yes. And now you lose Deshaun Watson again, and now you got Jameis Winston in there, and Jameis Winston balls out after you traded away your number one wide receiver. Don't forget that, guys.
Exactly.
Like, I had very serious doubts for Jameis Winston because Amari Cooper was no longer on that team. I was worried for him walking into a bad situation. But he's played great. If he continues to play great like this, I think the writing's all on the wall about what you had to do with Sean Watson. You had to move on from him. That's a more topic for later on the year for off-season talk of what happens with Sean Watson, because it is going to be very, very interesting. But yeah, I it's so funny, dude. It's so funny.
It's
the
the
situation they're in.
Ironic thing, man. Like, we talked about it even when they signed him to this contract. Like, as soon as that deal broke and we saw how much money he was getting guaranteed, we were like, is this a real tweet? Is this a real thing that's happening? But I don't know. And besides that, we'll get to that again in the offseason, like you said. But if this Browns team can get Nick Chubb oriented into it, I think the Browns are scary. Yes, their record is kind of
they need to be perfect.
Yeah, they need to be perfect to get to the playoffs, of course. But the way they played against Baltimore, we've seen my power rankings. They are a top 5 team for me. It's gonna be crazy to see what happens in the top 5 now.
Yes.
But yeah, if they can get
I
Nick
know
Chubb,
who's staying in the top 5, right, Vincent?
No spoilers this time. No spoilers. Except number 1. You know who's number 1 is. But yeah. Now, if they can get Nick Chubb oriented, I think the Browns are a team to be reckoned with. So if you got them coming up on your schedule soon, better watch out. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. We know what we get usually from Jameis Winston. You either get the good Jameis Winston or the all-time, or you get both, honestly. You might get like 3 or 4 interceptions with the touchdowns.
30 for 30, man. You never know.
It's great.
A long season.
I can't wait to watch it all, though. Let's move on to our last topic, and this is Overreaction Monday, but we're going to be overreacting a little bit to a Thursday night game about the LA Rams. Now, Rams, we were basically out on this team with how many injuries they had on their offense and defense, but mainly their offense, with being down Kupp, Puka, and also I believe offensive lineman along to go with that. Matthew Stafford wasn't able to do anything. He looked bad out there. There was trade talks this past week about before Thursday about trading Kupp and even Matthew Stafford as well, which is very surprising from the Rams organization when they've been hey, let's get players in here, not trade away our players. They say, F those draft picks. We don't want draft picks, et cetera, et cetera. And there was talks. How serious were they? We have no clue. A lot of times it's just chirping around the NFL. But there's multiple sources saying that the Rams were shopping Kupp at the very least. And now all that talk has gone quiet after how the Rams played this past Thursday. And really just surprised the whole league. Vincent, what was your reaction to this game?
Well, of course, we know that the Rams were doing all right in the run game, right? It was just, when could they get the pass game back like they wanted to have it? And I knew Kupp was going to come back this week, but then we got the crazy news right before the game. Puka's for sure starting. He's off IR. He's ready to go in. Everybody was going crazy because they were like, do we start him? Is he going to be on a snap count? Everything like that. I remember that Thursday perfectly. Yeah. I mean, so many people texted me. So many people were in the Discord. And, of course, on the live that I went on right before the game on TikTok, so many people were asking. It was crazy. Loved it. Puka Nacua did great. He had 100 yards receiving. Cooper Kupp had a touchdown, but he didn't have as many receptions as I thought he was, like what he showed us in week 1 when he had 21 targets. Only 8 targets this game, but still, this team looks a lot better. Kyron Williams was holding it down as best as he could. He was getting touchdowns galore. He didn't get one this game because, of course, The other guys are back. But I think as long as they keep going the way they're going, they're gonna keep winning games. I'm very scared next week. They play Seattle. It's not gonna be a pretty one. It's in Seattle. We've lost 3 straight in Seattle. The Rams are coming in off of a big win. They have an extended rest after the Thursday night football game. The Rams look scary to me. So I know they're sitting at the bottom right now of our NFC West division, but I think they could miraculously come back and make a playoff run here. But yeah, I was very surprised about those trade talks. I even talked about it in my video for the power rankings. It's weird, but they got the dub, man. It was against one of the best teams in the league in Minnesota again, just like how the Browns did to the Ravens. It was just a week of upsets. So you got to love it. But yeah, we'll see, man. It's going to be crazy.
Going to definitely be wild. The Rams are, I think, a very good team moving forward. And with the record of 3-4, they're very much still in the race of the playoffs. We knew they could be a playoff caliber team, had a rough start, but they can definitely still be a playoff caliber team if they're able to stay healthy and not trade away their stars at this point in the season. But Vincent, I'm going to kind of hijack this segment really quickly, okay?
Do it.
Now, going off of this game, the Minnesota Vikings are dead. Am I right? They're dead. Am I wrong here?
I don't know, Reed. I've talked about it before, saying as soon as Puka and Cup were back, that the Rams were a contending top 15 team in the league. I don't know if they're out of it. Yes, they had a horrible game. Yes, the Baltimore Ravens had a horrible game, but I don't put those teams out of being, top 10 teams in the league. It's just every week, you know what happens. People fall, people rise. But yes, the Vikings are not as scary. I will say that.
They're definitely not as scary. They've lost 2 games in a row now. Yes, one of them's to the Lions.
Yeah.
This one's to the Rams. When they were just getting players back, they were just getting... You should see rust on this offense currently. And the Vikings defense, which was this spectacular defense.
Number one.
The scheme is incredible. Didn't do crap against them. I don't know. I just feel like it's a little bit overhyped personally. Just personally. Am I biased in that take?
Sure. I know that they were missing their best linebacker. What's his name?
Excuses.
I forgot what his name was. Obviously, he's not somebody who's on my radar or anything, but I think it was like that Van Valkenburg dude. I don't know
it's the guy with long blonde hair. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. He's pretty good. But yeah, again, no excuses. This team just lost straight out. They lost by 10 points. So it wasn't something that like, oh, if they did this better, they could have won the game. Or if they didn't miss that, they could have won the game. No, the Rams just outright beat them. So yeah, the Vikings... We'll have to see, man. I don't know who they play next. Is it a divisional game next week for them? No.
For the Rams?
Indy. They play Indy, Jacksonville, and Tennessee these next 3 games. Those should be 3 easy wins for them if they play the way that they had been playing. So we'll see.
All right. Well, that's all we got for you guys this Overreaction Monday. We hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hit that like button. Go to the comments and tell us how wrong we are about every single one of our takes. We love to hear it. We love getting at with you guys in the comments. You guys telling us we're wrong. So go there. Make sure you also subscribe to the channel. We are trying to gain more subs every single day as we're growing this football season. So hit the sub button if you're enjoying this content and want to get more of it. Other than that, as always, keep on grinding.